In today's modern parenting, it's a time many parents look forward to when their kids are all grown up and finally out of the house.
Yeah, you might be expecting to feel relief and joy, but experts also say it can lead to a mix of emotions, even grief, anxiety, loss of identity. Psychotherapist Niro Feliciano is with us now to talk all about it. Good to see you, Niro. So, I think this is the time of year when a lot of colleges are accepting, or, kids are making their plans for college, and parents are starting to think, oh, we're going to be all alone in the fall. I'm actually an empty nester already, but how can it affect psychologically parents?
Well, one thing we have to understand is grief is not just about death. It's about any loss that we experience and the emotions that accompany it. So we can feel sadness, loneliness, even disoriented, loss of identity, and in many cases, even some anxiety, worry, and depression. Most of us figure it out within a few weeks, even a month, but major life transitions take longer than people think. 3 to 6 months, sometimes even a year to really settle in and find your way.
And I'm glad you acknowledge grief, because I'm sure many parents go, oh, I've been prepping for this for 18 years. I knew it was coming.
You never know until it's there.
You're still processing it. How do you recommend parents navigate this new stage?
Yeah, I think one thing is to pause and reflect. The reason your kids are off and they're confident is because of what you've put into them, the love and support that you've given them. So you can take a little ownership of that. We want to look at this time and reassess, too. Now is the time to think about, who were you before kids? What did you want to do during all this time that you were meal planning and scheduling and driving?
Carpooling.
Yes, that you didn't have time to do. Maybe it's volunteer or try a new hobby or change careers. But now's your time to do that. We want to plan, do we want to travel? Do we want to engage with other new couples? Because I think that's really important for support too, those who've been through this. And then prioritize, one thing at a time, because it might seem overwhelming. Where do I start? What do I do? Take one step at a time, focus on one thing at a time, and then move forward.
I did write a piece for Today.com when I first went off to college about how it actually felt really good. Like, I felt like I was launching this person, and he was gonna, he was going for it,
Yes.
But how do these feelings that we parents have impact the relationship with the children then, as they come back for visits or ready to live with us again?
It's funny, especially for Thanksgiving, that first break. I hear a lot of parents be like, I couldn't wait for them to walk in the door, and all of a sudden they're gone. I don't see them. They're with their friends. It's important that we communicate before those times, and we do want to still give them space to be adults and respect that boundary. When do you want to spend time together? Even when they're away, when do you want me to call you? Please feel free to tell me if this is not a good time. And then also enjoy some of the friendship now that's developing. Tell me about your favorite places. Let me take you out when I come to visit you. You can enjoy that now because there is some space. And you'll find, too, a lot of kids being away from home appreciate what they have at home. All of a sudden now, they let go of the small things, as do parents, and say, Mom was right, I did have a good thing there, and they come back with an appreciation.
There are still many parents who are not at this stage yet and maybe think, oh, I don't need to prep, I don't need to think about it. What do you recommend for them?
I'm so glad you asked me that question, because for me now, with looking at kids going to college every 2 years, I was always the mom with little kids, and it happens in a blink. And the number one thing I can say is, one, protect your relationship and your marriage. We lose sight of that in the busyness of raising kids. And the other, cultivate your own identity aside from kids. Look at the things that you enjoy now. Even make time for it, even if it's once a month, once every 2 months.
I love that.
Because we want to hold on to that once the kids transition into their new season, and ours too.
Yeah, and even if you have younger kids right now, it's something to maybe think about, building those hobbies, those things that give you purpose.
Absolutely, absolutely. That is part of our identity, and knowing who we are apart from those roles in our family.
Love that. Super briefly, like in a line, what's the biggest benefit of this stage of parenthood when you're an empty nester?
I think sleep. Sleep, not meal planning, being able to cook and eat what you want.
Yep. And travel, being able to just go away for the weekend.
Love that.
Niro Feliciano,
Right.
thank you.
Thank you. Well, we got a lot more news ahead.
You're watching NBC News Daily.